I think the first thing is you should solve some problem. You try to identify probably the potential problem which you are solving, put it on paper, and there is a concept called lean canvas. You feel that okay, you have a good hold on the problem or on the concept. If it is a technology product, then the first step you should do it.
Hello guys, my name is Utsav Rambat and welcome to the brand new episode of the Entrepreneur Talks. On today's episode, I have Abhishek Desai sir with me, who is the founder of CricHeroes and an entrepreneur for 18 plus years. Abhishek sir has built multiple products for different startups, including startups of Silicon Valley. Building a great product is a huge and important task for every entrepreneur. So in this episode, he has shared step-by-step process of building a great product from scratch. Watch this video till the end because you will learn the whole process of product development and how to build a great product which can earn crores of rupees for your startup. Make sure to subscribe to our channel. Without further ado, Abhishek Desai sir on the Entrepreneur Talks. Hello sir.
Hey,
First of all, welcome to the Entrepreneur Talks.
my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much for doing this. How have you identified that particular कि वो idea आएगा उसके बाद चालू होगा? What was the first step of that process of product development?
I think the first step of whether you call it like a product-based startup or a service, I don't think that is relevant anymore. I think the first thing is you should solve some problem. Right, so that is basically you are solving a problem, right, with the help of technology or without the help of technology, right? So I think that's the first thing, and according to me, it is always better if you solve your own problem first, because if it is a problem for you, there is a fair chance that it is also a problem for a lot of people like you, right? So that is first step. Second step, I think any entrepreneur should always see or check is whether there is enough market or there is large market. So if you are really into building, if you really want to build a big company, right, it can only be built if the market is huge, right? So yeah, I think the pain point and the market are the key things which you should consider before starting any of your own business.
Right. So like okay, they have did this कि उन्होंने pain point भी identify कर दिया है and they have identified the market. तो market भी अच्छा बढ़ा है, अब pain point भी identify हो गया. Now what's the next step?
The next step is, I mean, there can be multiple ways this can go.
But let's say
one of the ways you can start is talk to your customers. Before even building product or before even putting anything on paper, you may want to talk to your potential customers, right? Now, let's say in my case, my potential customers were cricketers, right? So I went there and talked to them. In case of, for example, let's say Pet Puja, their potential customers were restaurants, right? So then they went ahead and saw how restaurants work, what are the pain points they are facing, what are the pain points the biller is facing, right? The main person who sits on the computer, right? So I think that is probably the wisest way to go, right? Before you decide to solve, the pain point which you have identified, because it is completely possible that what you have thought of is not the actual pain point, but something else is there.
So okay, ठीक है कि अभी research हो गया. Research में भी find कर लिया कि ठीक है ये problem है, market भी बड़ा है, and now I want to start working on that problem.
Right.
So how they can start?
Again, so then another early step can be, probably you should put something on paper and like try to understand whether this can become a big business or not. After you have talked to enough people and you have tried to identify probably the potential problem which you are solving, put it on paper, and there is a concept called lean canvas. Right? So the entire business plan in like one A4 size paper, right? So you don't need like a 50 pager PowerPoint slide or something. You can put your entire business plan in one page, and that is the best way to do it.
What is there in lean canvas? Can you just elaborate?
So lean canvas is basically the most let's say important parts of your business plan. So what is the problem you are trying to solve? How is the solution? What are the key challenges? Whether you have any competitors, have you thought of them? How will you make money? Right, so I think there are like about probably 5 to 7 such segments in that one page, right? So try to fill in that lean canvas, which I also did for CricHeroes and some of the earlier concepts as well. It will simply help you clarify your mind, nothing else, right? It is also a good idea to start applying for incubators. at this time, at this stage, right? Not because you will get an entry. If you get an entry, nothing like it, and if you want to, but they also ask you a lot of questions, right? That what is the problem you are trying to solve? Like how will you solve it? From where will you get the money? Why you are the best person to solve this problem? So you need to keep answering these questions multiple times. Every time you answer, you will have something new to add. Right? So this will help you refine your idea further and further and further. Right?
So sorry to cut you off, but what is incubator? Can you explain that?
Sure. So incubator, or specifically startup incubators, are like organizations who help early stage startups. Like in all the stages that they help them conceptualize. They help them go ahead and how to morph, how to make take idea to a product, how to get money from investors. So they help early stage entrepreneurs in all this journey.
Right. So now the lean canvas is done. I have clarified my idea. I just want to go to that to the final
research and refinement. So once refinement is there, once you feel that okay, you have a good hold on the problem or on the concept. If it is a technology product, then the first step you should do is you should define a minimal viable product, right? Which is called MVP.
Yeah.
Right? And MVP is again absolutely the minimum viable product. It has to be functional at the same. It doesn't mean you create a half good product. That doesn't mean that. You don't want 10 features. You want only 2 features or 3 features which are absolutely required. So for example, in CricHeroes, the minimum viable product was a scoring module. I did not need my feed or market or any other feature, which was not required at that time. I only wanted to solve a problem for the scorer, whoever is scoring the match. I did not even have a scorecard at that time. I just gave them a scoring module, and then scorecard was published on website. Right. So that was.
Sorry, sir, this is a very good point that people think about ye add kar dunga, and they make a mess of it.
Yes.
So can you explain it with a different sort of example, like CricHeroes ho gaya? But let's say from a different industry point of view, कोई दूसरा product ले लेते हैं.
So for example, let's say if you talk about a food ordering concept, let's say you're building that, then I think in your case MVP can be just a list of 10 restaurants in one city or one area. Forget anything else, right? You can see the menus of those 10 restaurants. And you can order only from those 10 restaurants. That's it. And if you are delivering, then whether you are able to deliver in 30 minutes or in 20 minutes or whatever timeline you are, that is the MVP for you. Right?
पहले से ही बहुत ज़्यादा करने मत जाओ. छोटे से ही चालू करो.
No point. Yes.
क्योंकि वहाँ पे मैस क्रिएट हो जाएगा and if people will not like that too much messy kind of thing, बहुत ज़्यादा features add कर दिए.
It's not even about that. Obviously this is one point where you try to do too many things and you don't have enough resources and you end up creating a not good enough product for all those things. But the idea is that you also need to learn, right? You don't know what you don't know, right? So if you start small, you have a better chance of learning by making some mistakes. What is working, what is not working. Right. So I think creating an MVP and getting a product market fit, which is another terminology, right? So product market fit, whether your product is acceptable in the market or whether market is accepting your product or not, whether are you getting new users daily simply by word of mouth, right? If it is a business to business product, are your current customers referring to other customers? Right? So essentially, are you growing yourself on your own basically, or you have to spend marketing money to grow?
Right.
If you have to spend marketing money to grow in your early stage, then that's a big red flag. That means you haven't identified the right problem. Right. If you have identified the right problem, right, people will refer your product to somebody who is having a similar problem. If you're not, then they will not. And you will have to spend money to get those early users. And that is a big red flag.
Right. So, sir, अभी MVP बन गया. Like you have tested your market. आपने 2-3 feature आके भी देख लिए. Now people are using your product also. Now then वो first, second trial वाला product से अभी और क्या डेवलपमेंट होनी चाहिए? What is the next process? What's the next step?
So then, once if you are able to find your product market fit, so basically, people are referring to your product and new people are coming on your product every single day, right? Probably installs are improving, engagement is improving, right? So these are some of the signs whether you have achieved product market fit or not, right? And there are a lot of definition or a lot of ways people have defined what does product market fit mean, but one of the definitions which I like is that you know when you see it, right? There is no formula to claim to prove that you are product market fit. That it's simply that it is working, right? So once you are in that stage, then again a lot of things can happen. For example, you may start thinking about how do you grow further faster than your current growth rate, right? And at that time maybe you require some additional money to grow.
Right.
You may require money to hire additional team members to do things which you are not able to do right now, right? So probably this is a good time to start seeking for looking for money outside, talking to investors, show them your progress. Again, meeting early stage investors or angel investors also is extremely a fruitful exercise, because it also helps you refine your idea further, because now they will ask you a lot of questions related to business. So far you have only thought about your product, your early users, how do you solve the pain point and all, right? But probably you haven't had enough chance to think about how this business can grow further, how this can become a big business, right? So now when you start talking to investors, they will ask you all sorts of questions. They will need a business plan, they will need probably 3-year, 5-year projections, right? So all those things. So I think that's also a very, very fruitful exercise. So yeah, probably this is one of the things which you will automatically start doing once your product starts growing.
Right. And like funding हो गया. Like if we say कि progress अच्छा था, ये सब था, we talked with investors and we got the funding also. Now what's the next step in it?
Now, see, if you have got the funding, you have given a business plan to your investor,
yeah,
right? So the obvious thing which you can do now is to follow the business plan. Whatever projections which you have promised for taking that investment, right? You will try to achieve those promises essentially, right? Depending on the investor, that person may also keep tab on your business on a month-on-month basis or quarter-on-quarter basis. They will basically check whether you are going in the right direction. They will also advise you. They will also connect you with a lot of people, right? Which are required to probably grow your business or grow your customer base.
Right.
So yeah, I think then things will be on kind of an auto mode in a way. You will, depending on what kind of business you are building, you will keep getting clues from different directions that what all things you can do. But now the challenge is that again there will never come a day when you feel that okay, you have enough resources to do everything. There will never come that day, right? So the key at that time will be same as the early stage, is to focus, right? Even when you have grown bigger, you will have so many things that you will not be able to do all the things. So how do you focus and how do you do things which matter, or how do you do things which take you to the next stage, or from 0 to 1 or 1 to n. So yeah, I think those are the challenges which will always remain with an entrepreneur of a growing business.
Right. So like, what was those things for you? Like when you moved from 0 to 1, the scenario was different. So from your answer, till product market fit, I feel कि आपकी iteration cycles बहुत fast होनी चाहिए. Like your feedback loop would tend to be very shorter. फटाफट feedback loop लाओ, जल्दी changes करो. और जैसे मार्क ज़करबर्ग का एक थिंग है, move fast and break things. So वो kind of formula आपको अपनाना चाहिए till product market fit and till you get some kind of a good scale. अभी आपको scale मिल गया है. Now you are into business for 4-5 years. Then how the mindset is changed from that 0 to 1. Now you are at somewhere around 80 or 85. Then what is that mindset shift, or what are the things changed for you?
So I'll quote him only. So after move fast and break things, he revised that quote. He said he revised it to move fast and break things with a stable infrastructure, right? Or it is not sexy anymore, but the idea is, like once you have enough set of customers, once people are dependent on your product to do something, you cannot afford to break things every now and then, right? You have to have a stable product, you have to have a stable infrastructure which works most of the times, right? So that is an immediate step which you need to do as an entrepreneur. For example, in our case, we cannot move fast and break things when people are scoring their matches, right? So we cannot do that, otherwise we will lose our customer base in an instant, right? So for that we had to learn how to create a stable infrastructure which will withstand a peak, a load which we are getting on weekends. Like, are we able to scale at that time dynamically? Are we able to scale down when the traffic is low? Because otherwise we'll not be able to afford our server bills, right? So all those things. So yes, so the immediate next step is to have a stable infrastructure.
Right. So that's it from today's episode, guys. If you enjoyed this, then please do drop a like, share this video with your friends, and please tell us what is the favorite part from this episode.